What is up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here at GSD Mode Studios, where every week I share new top real estate agent and entrepreneur interviews, along with tips that I'm personally doing inside my business that have allowed me to become one of the top real estate agents and team leaders on the planet. Check us out at gsdmode.com, where you can see more free, great content, tips, interviews, resources, trainings, and more that will help you massively grow your real estate business. Also, make sure to check out my personal mentorship coaching program at 90daymastery.com. This is for those of you wanting to create a truly successful real estate business that pays you the money you want, as well as gives you the time and freedom to live a life worth living. This is hands down the best, most effective, and most affordable real estate coaching program that exists out there. Thank you so much for all of your support. Now, let's dive on into today's content. What is up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here with another GSD interview, where every single week we interview top entrepreneurs, top real estate agents, top health and fitness professionals, and just straight up badasses that are out there dominating their space. So, today we got a rock star on the call, you guys. This is a dude, a young cat, 28-year-old, young rock star realtor. He's only been in the business for a few years, is already accomplishing what most people don't accomplish in a whole entire career. So, dude's been in the biz for 3 years. This year, he's on track to do over 60 transactions, 300K in GCI, and one of the most impressive things is he's built all of this in a business where he's working less than 30 hours a week. So excited to have our guest on the show today, dive into this stuff, and bring some info to you guys. So AJ Mida, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, honored, man. Absolutely stoked. So dude, so you're in North Carolina. Before we kind of dive in, give us an idea, like what's your market look like right now? What's your average price point? Buyer's market, seller's market? What's going on there?
Yeah, definitely. So the market's super hot, like a lot of the country is right now. We're definitely in a seller's market. If we list it right, price it right, it's selling usually within the first week, multiple offers. So it's super hot. We're really taking advantage of the market right now and focusing on the listing side of the business. Average price point in my area is right around $250.
Awesome, bro. Awesome. So before we jump into what you're doing today in your real estate business and really how you're doing 60 deals a year, working less than 30 hours a week, which is pretty damn intriguing. I've yet to be able to figure that one out myself. So I'm stoked to dive in that. But what did you do before you got into real estate, dude? I mean, you're a young cat. You've been doing this since you're 25. What were you involved in any type of an entrepreneur venture previous, or how did you give us a little background, bro?
Yeah. So once I figured out that I wasn't going to make it to the NFL or the NBA, I figured there had to be another path to build wealth, and I found that path through entrepreneurship. So I got really interested in business probably in around 8th grade. Don't come from a business background. Both my parents worked for Ford Motor Company, so real blue collar. I read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad when I was 16, so that really got me intrigued into real estate, but didn't decide to really jump 100% into real estate till 3 years ago. So in college, I got recruited by a company called Student Painters to run a painting company over the course of the summer. Did really well with them. I was a top rookie manager in my first year with them. Had a lot of fun with it and decided that entrepreneurship 100% was the path I was going to go. After that, I did that for 4 years, moved out to California. I was buying scrap gold out in California. Kind of when the gold rush was happening for the second time around 2008, 2009. Then my wife and I decided to move out to Charlotte. And when we moved back to Charlotte, start a painting company again. My goal was to start a professional painting franchise because that's kind of the business I knew. And I got sick of it after about 6 months and decided, hey, man, this is not for me. I wasn't enjoying the people I was working with. So I actually decided to open a gym franchise after I shut the painting company down. And my wife and I, we took a trip up to West Virginia to do some four-wheeling with some family. And during that trip, I actually broke my leg. I was going about 40. I flipped the four-wheeler, hit a bump, going too fast. The four-wheeler landed on my leg. It broke. And that weekend when I came back, I was supposed to go visit some gyms with my buddy to kind of check them out, see the kind of gym that we wanted to start. We're going to do a circuit training type thing. And I was laid up for a few months. So during that time, I went to my bookshelf. I have a couple hundred books on there. Half of them I've read. And one of those were The Millionaire Real Estate Agent by Gary Keller. And I was like, man, this is a way to make some real money in the real estate business. So I got my license the next month, and the rest is history.
Yep, awesome, dude. So you're in the painting business. You decide to move to California and jump into the gold business. Dude, like, were you trading, or are you doing a lot of just kind of personal investments in the stock market? I mean, how'd you get out to California? What intrigued you to go to California, and why gold, bro?
Yeah, so at the time I was running my painting company through Student Painters in Michigan, and I saw my buddy at the gym. I was like, hey man, if I could just make an extra $200 a month, doing what you guys are doing, that'd be sweet. And I was like 21 at the time, and it turned out an opportunity opened up where I could join his dad's company. And the owner's son and I went out to California, started a division of that company. And what we were doing were gold parties. So we'd go into people's homes with cash money. There'd be a bunch of women there. We'd weigh up their scrap gold and buy it for cash. Yeah. And that was awesome. We took that company to new heights out there, and it was a lot of fun while I was part of that. Yep. So got out of that and moved to North Carolina.
Yeah, dude. So okay. So you get into you're reading Gary Keller's book, dope book, awesome book, and you get into real estate.
Yep.
90% of realtors fail in the first 3 years, right? So if you're in real estate school with 30 agents, at the end of this 3 years, there's only 3 of you left. The vast majority are done, right? So, and really, it's like that first year is the most difficult. It's kind of the most important year to really lay that foundation. And so let's walk us through that, dude. So you read this book, you go get real estate, your license. And a lot of people get in this industry, they think it sounds so lucrative and cool, and then they realize, holy shit, it's a lot of work. There's a lot to this that I didn't realize. What was your first year like, dude? When you got in real estate, was it as easy as you thought it was going to be, or because of your background of just being a hustler, was it easier than you anticipated? Kind of walk us through what was going on and what your first year was like.
Yeah, definitely. So my first year was 2013. At that time, I was still kind of wrapping up my painting company, still doing a little bit of sales and subcontracting work out. So for the first couple of months, I was a little part-time, 2013. But I wish I could say my first year was a huge success story, but it wasn't at all, man. I closed 6 deals. And the sad thing about it is I got Rookie of the Year in my office. So that was pretty cool, but only 6 deals, man. And what I found, because coming from the student painting background, like we knew if you knocked on doors for 1 hour, you'd get 1 lead. If you passed out 500 flyers, you'd get 1 lead. If you went on 2 estimates, you'd get one painting contract. And when I joined the business, I was asking people in my office, like, hey, what are the numbers? If I do this, what's the result going to be? If I make this many phone calls, how many listing appointments should I be able to go on? And nobody at my office had those answers for me. So I really spun my wheels for about 6 months trying to figure what those numbers were, because I just wanted it to be a numbers game like I was used to. And I finally figured out that the answer to that, it is a numbers game, the way I run my business at least. And it just took me a lot longer than I expected to figure that part of it out. Once I did, I started hitting expireds extremely hard. By the end of the first year, 2013, I had 20 listings in my inventory. And that propelled me into a good second year, 2014, where I sold 35 homes. So it was about what I expected. I just didn't have that clear-cut path because, I had no sphere when I moved here. I didn't know anybody. So I built my business on expireds, and I just had to figure out what that was at the beginning.
Yeah. In this business, and you're right, dude. Nobody treats it as a business, right? So, man, and that's why everybody has these roller coasters, and it can be an uber predictable business. There's no reason that you should have a bad month unless you've chosen not to do the work, right? So, all right, dude. So you get into expireds. Let's kind of hit that because that's a hot topic right now, dude. Because we're back into a seller's market. Everybody wants listings. So you go out there. Once you figure this out, you start dialing. You start working expireds. You really 1 full year into the real estate business. Now you go out there and rack up 20 listings on your own just on expireds. The other intriguing thing about expireds is, you got to put in a little hustle, dude, but they don't cost you a lot of money, right? So exactly. What were you doing, dude? Were you door knocking? Were you calling? A little bit of all of it. Like, what was your strategy?
So it was just straight up calling. So I found some people who were doing it at a high level. I'm a YouTube junkie, man. When I need to know something, I'm all over YouTube. Watching your stuff, watching some of the other top dogs out there. And I found that the people doing expireds at the highest level were calling. So I subscribed to Land Voice. I got Mojo Sells, the power dialer. And I just went to town, man. I went to Mike Ferry's website, downloaded his free scripts, and just started calling. It's as simple as that, So that's what I did. Since then, it's become a little more sophisticated. But that's pretty much it. It was super simple.
Yeah,
You
dude.
know,
So when people, I mean, people hear that, I'm like, okay, he just bought this list from Land Voice, and I get the same exact system. I use Land Voice right now and Mojo. Love my
hmm
Mojo Power Dialer, dude. So
yeah,
same setup on my end. But you start calling those. It's not like you just had these scripts and it was big success. Because one
right.
thing with our listener base, or just where I'm kind of going with this is to really paint the picture of what it really was to get there. Like for
hmm
example, when the REO world happened, the market crash and REO happened, and people would come to me and be like, "Oh, dude, you're lucky you got 38 banks and 350 properties." I'm like, "Yeah, well, I had to do 10,000 dials over a 6-month span, getting
Right,
rejected by thousands to get these 38. So it looks like
right, right.
luck to them." But
hmm
but dude, I mean, you're in the trenches. You're getting rejected. What were your initial numbers like? Like, what was a day like that to get one listing? How many dials were you making? How many times were you getting rejected? Just so people have a true idea of what that looked like.
Yeah, definitely. So for me, I knew it was going to be high rejection, and I was okay with that. My expectation was if I speak to 30 people, whether it's a good conversation or whether they're hanging up as soon as I say who I am, that was cool. I was going to consider that a contact. And if I got 30 contacts, I was going to set an appointment. And that's pretty much what my numbers were. So at the beginning, I was hustling hard. Near the end of 2013, all the way through 2014, I was on the phones a lot. 12 to 15 hours a day. I'm not a day, a week. Just hitting it hard, making about 100 contacts a week. So if I make 30 contacts, this is just someone I talk to, I'll set one appointment. It takes me 2 appointments to actually go on one appointment because I always pre-qualify the listing. So it's either me canceling or them canceling. And
What
and last,
what are
uh-huh,
sorry to interrupt you, but what's a
yeah,
reason that you would cancel? Like find out they're in a short sale scenario, or like
yeah.
what would get you to cancel that listing appointment?
Yeah, so a lot of times if it's a short sale situation, I personally don't do short sales. I'm going to refer that out. So that might be one thing. If I think their house is worth 250 and they're telling me they want 350, and they keep telling me how they don't have to sell, they'll wait 5 years for the market to come back. I'm probably canceling something like that. So I'll dig pretty deep for motivation, but if it's not there, I'll cancel. Um, and if it's something, because I'll travel in a pretty big area too, so I might go 45 minutes out. And if it's 45 minutes out, I'm pre-qualifying really hard to where I pretty much know if I drive out there, I'm getting it as soon as I go out there. So really, it's motivation. Number one is the biggest factor that I'm looking for.
Yep, absolutely, dude. Okay, so
Yeah.
you set 2 appointments to attend one. How many appointments in the beginning? I know you've got it dialed in now, and you're probably
hmm
closing the majority that you go on. But in the beginning, what was that like? Was it like 1 out of 3, 1 out of 2, 1 out of 4 that you'd actually attend?
Yeah, so it's about 60%. So 6 out of 10 I would actually get. Last year, that went up to more about 68%, is I think where I finished the year. This year, I'm a lot more sphere and referral based. So I'm more up around 82, 83% last time I checked.
Okay. So okay, dude, you're out there, you're racking up these, right? So you're getting all
Mhm.
these listings. How are you managing this? Because you're a single agent, you're dialing 15, 20 hours a week, plus you're
Mhm.
going on all these appointments. You're having to
Mhm.
negotiate the contracts, servicing those. At this point, do you start hiring help? Do you start bringing on buyer's agents? Do you start referring deals out?
Yeah.
What did that look like?
Yeah, so I have a secret weapon. It's my wife.
Yeah.
She quit nursing. Well, she still works at the hospital once every 6 weeks just because she enjoys it. But I brought her on board. She's a licensed agent. So last year she was pretty much my assistant. Wasn't in production last year. This year she still does some assistant work for me and is in production as a buyer's agent. So without her last year, I would have been working much crazier hours than I did. Because even last year I was still working about 40 hours a week with her help though.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. So now, dude, and now fast forward to where you're at right now. Is it just the two of you? Do you have other support staff? Because, I mean, now, dude, you're 60 deals this year, 300K in gross commissions, but working less than 30 hours a week. So what
hmm
does that look like? How do you build that out? What does that look like as far as support?
Yep. Yeah, so my next hire needs to be a full-time assistant. I still don't have that, so I'm not following the MREA model for all the KW peeps out there. But so I have my wife as a buyer's agent. She's still working as an assistant for me as well. I have a closing coordinator who isn't on my payroll, who I actually outsource my business to on a per transaction basis. So he'll handle it from once I get a contract all the way to closing, and that's been awesome. So that's been a huge help. I brought on another buyer's agent this year in the second quarter. She's in production now. She'll probably close about, I'd say, 15 of those units maximum this year for us out of those 60 that we'll do. And then we just brought on another buyer's agent who's not yet in production. So our team right now is a closing coordinator, 3 buyer's agents, and that includes my wife.
Yeah, awesome, bro. So then, I mean, what's your main focus today? Like for you, like AJ, like what does a typical day look like for you, dude?
Yeah. So my typical day is a lot different than it was last year. And you know, when new agents ask me how to be successful, I coach them to what I did last year. Because last year was a hard grind and a hustle, you know, just making it happen. Whereas this year I have a lot of repeat, well, not so much repeat, but a lot of referral. I'm building a sphere here. So now I get a lot of people calling me to do business with me. So it's become a lot easier in that aspect. So a typical day, I'm still typically on the phones, you know, no more usually than 5 hours a week. So I'm not really hustling the expireds like I used to. I was doing the numbers because I thought you might ask me. My expireds make up only 12% of my business this year, where last year it was over 52%. My sphere and referral is 25%, 28%. So what I find myself doing now is mainly listing appointments, coaching my team, and negotiating contracts. And as we move forward, I watched something that you put out, Joshua, where you said you can either hustle to get an expired or hustle to get an agent, and they're going to sell 50 homes as opposed to you just getting that one deal. So that's kind of my mindset a little bit more now is to get a couple more agents on my team, getting them producing at a high level. And by July 1st of next year, me completely stepping out of production, just running a small lean team. I don't want to be doing 1,000 transactions a year. I'd rather keep it smaller, on a couple hundred units.
Until you get to a couple hundred. Then you'd be like, well, let's go do that 1,000.
I know. I hear it's harder to get to 100 than it is like to get from 100 to 300.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's true or not. You would know.
Yeah, you know, it's almost just been you find the model and then you just duplicate it. Yeah. Right? So it's like, okay, I got this model when we did 60 deals. Now you can't duplicate yourself. You know, right? But that buyer's agent that, let's say she does 15 transactions a year, or maybe she does 20. Okay, well I can keep duplicating that, right? So to me it's all of the same. You know, just unlike you though. I mean, I grinded for like 100 hours a week for the first 8 hours, the end, you know, being in the business. And then last couple of years, I mean, now a busy week for me is 3 hours in my business, you know, and we're averaging around about 53 a month. And but it ends up being, it's the same thing, dude. You just keep scaling up. The path is all math, just like you're doing right now and what you're tracking right now. So let's talk about that because dude, I mean, you're a guy that knows your numbers. And I 100%, if there's 2 secrets in this business, and there's no secrets in this business, but if there were to be 2, it's run the lowest overhead you possibly can, and know your numbers intimately. So you can plan, you can prep, dude. Then you never have to go in the red. You can make those decisions. You know, if you can perceive a bad quarter coming up based on your appointment set, you can start scaling back. So I know it was your second year. We're kind of in your first year, your second year, where you got hardcore in that. How did you get dialed in to the point you are now? I mean, did you have a coach? Did you have a mentor, or is this just all kind of self-taught from your other entrepreneur endeavors that you had in the past?
Yeah, definitely. I'm a firm believer in coaching. I've already had, I believe, 5 different real estate coaches in my short real estate career. So it's been a combination of self-education, you know, watching YouTube. You know, that's huge. You know, guys like you that are doing these interviews and hiring coaches. You know, I believe that I could get to where I am today without coaching, but it might take 5 to 10 years. So getting in coaching is all about, for me, collapsing time frames. You know, so if I want to be an expert in something or operate at the highest level, I'm going to hire a coach to get me there faster. So it's been through coaching. Yeah, without coaching, I wouldn't be where I am right now.
All right, dude. So you're dominating those expired second year in the business. Good chunk of your business. I can't remember what you said, like 80. I mean, it was a big chunk. Now, only 12% is that. So then you've learned to do something that most never do. Today, NAR right now, the stats right now are 88% of buyers and sellers. So they love their agent, would use their agent again. Only 11% ever do a repeat transaction. And it's not because over time their agent does a shittier job in their mind. It's because most agents neglect. They have this money tree in their backyard and they choose not to water it. And you've done a really brilliant job at that. So what are you doing what are you doing through the transaction? Are there any like special kind of wow factors that you're doing, or is it all just based in the, hey, after they close, it's our nurture follow-up? And what are you doing to maybe plant seeds for referrals? I mean, because that's a huge shift, dude, in only a 12-month period.
Yeah. Yeah, it is, and I would say that's actually the biggest area for improvement for us. Getting to where we are today, what was really throwing a lot of stuff together and just running with it. So as far as one thing I can point to that's wow factor, I can't really point to anything other than putting our clients first and doing what's best for them and communicating and being responsive. But there's no magic bullet in that aspect. As far as keeping contact with them, it is reaching back out, through phone calls, not just emails, but we are sending out 2 emails a month, mostly video emails, just keeping up to date on the market. If it's spring, maybe some spring tips through video. So some educational videos and quarterly phone calls, nothing, it's not rocket science that we're doing.
Yeah.
And I do want to get better in that area. Huge room for improvement.
So I know that you're personally not doing a lot of expired calls, but I mean, is that something that you still have your agents doing in your team, or you still have other people within your organization doing? Because you get these new agents coming on, you've now got repeat business, but they don't yet.
Mm-hmm.
So you bring somebody new on, what are you doing right now to coach that brand new teammate to get up to speed and out there closing deals?
Yeah, so right now all my agents are strictly working buyers, so they're just calling buyer leads. We've implemented some team door knocking this year, but it's not been on a consistent basis. It's been more when our listings were low, we got out there as a team and knocked neighborhoods together. But I'm just coaching them to convert buyer leads. So the buyer leads that we're generating are through pay per click. We use real estate webmasters, and they're just hustling those leads as well as all the sign calls we're getting from our listings.
Awesome, bro. Awesome. So, okay, so doing expireds, you're doing your past client, your follow-up, you're just putting them in your nurture campaign, you're staying in touch with them, providing great service. Let's start with your buyer agents with your pay-per-click. What does that look like, dude? Because I was asked, I had another interview that we did in here yesterday with a good friend of mine, and we kind of got into this conversation of, okay, which would you rather pick? A sign call, or like ultra-targeted Facebook ad that you could set up your own target audience. And I'm like, for me, Facebook ads all day, right? Because I can pick, I know their exact income brackets. I'm really targeting on that. And the other dope thing I love about really 2015 is listings aren't the name of the game anymore. Right? Yeah. I mean, of course they can be as far as it's the best use of you and I to spend our time. Well, really it's adding agents. But what I mean by that is you can go out there and you don't have to have listings, get the sign calls. I can generate some very inexpensive, high quality leads. What does that look like for you guys when you say PPC? I mean, are you hitting Facebook heavy? Are you hitting Google hard? Are you running these yourself? Do you outsource it? Does real estate webmasters run that for you?
Yep, so it's just straight pay-per-click through Google. Real Estate Webmasters manages everything for us. So it's not my highest, I believe it's not my use of time right now to figure all that out. So I outsourced it to them. They're running with it. I wouldn't necessarily recommend pay-per-click as the first way to generate buyers leads. The way I got into it was kind of looking at it like, hey, if I can invest this amount of money, get this ROI, I'm happy with that. And we have achieved that. Although I think we could be getting a better ROI doing things like Facebook ads. So will I continue it at a high level like we are right now into 2016? I'm not sure, but right now it's working for us.
Awesome, dude. So when you as an entrepreneur running this real estate business, what kind of an ROI do you look for? Because people are like, well, it's working, right? I put in $1, I get $2 back. Well, that might be working, but you might be able to put that $1 in over here and get $5 back.
Yeah.
So I mean, what are kind of the numbers that make you happy? Like, what do you like to see, dude? It's kind of a minimum.
Yeah, I'd like to see 10x. Although I will say my expectation for Real Estate Webmasters for the first year was if I got a 5x return, I would have continued it. And we are seeing about a 5x return on Real Estate Webmasters. We put 1,000 in, we're getting about 5,000 back. So we've been happy with it overall. But ideally, I'd like to see a 10x return.
Okay, awesome, bro. All right, dude. So then you've got it to the point now that you're working 30 hours a week. Like what do you do in the rest of your time, dude? Are you in there now looking for other? Because you're an entrepreneur. You're that guy that's always you're a creator. Right?
Yeah.
We're us entrepreneurs, we're just unemployable, dude, is what it boils down to. We always got to be creating new epic shit. We get bored really fast. Like what else are you doing out there? I mean, is it just this? You just kind of enjoying life right now, or you have other things that you're building right now on the side?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm starting to mentor other agents. I have a few agents that I work with right now. I'm looking on to bring another 3 on in the next month or so. So my passion's always been really in training and coaching. Going back to student painters, like I was talking about it. Really, what I did with student painters. My first year, I ran a painting company, but every year after that, running the painting company for me was kind of a small piece of the income. What my job was to go out there and actually coach and train other college students and teach them how to run their own painting business, and that's where I had a lot of fun with that. So that's what I'm doing now. My goal is just to have a very small group of individuals that I'm working with, agents who want to build a business like I have. This year I was forecasting my numbers. I should net around 200,000 this year, working less than 30 hours a week. So I approach the real estate business as kind of a lifestyle business to where figure out what your goal is and then work towards that goal. So that's what I want to mentor other agents to do. I find in this business, and even me too, being so competitive, I see other agents doing 100 deals a year, 200 deals a year. And for me at the beginning, I got caught up in that too and was like, man, I want to have a 20 agent team, doing 1,000 deals a year. That's going to be awesome. But then it was like, really, well, what's more important to me is taking a lot of vacations and time off with my wife and going out on the lake and hiking and doing those things that I like to do while creating a good income. So that's kind of going to be my niche, is working with people who want to run their real estate business like a lifestyle business.
Yeah, no, and I love it. That's what I love about real estate, dude. Is it can be, there's 1,000 ways to skin a cat, and it can truly be whatever you want it to be.
Yeah.
I had another a good buddy of mine who was on the show, Brandon Howe. Real similar setup to yours, man. I mean, he's been doing this for about 12 years now, but he's got a team. I think right now he's about a team of 6. And they do about 30-40 million a year in production, and
That's awesome.
that's his thing. Dude. He works Monday through Thursday. Like on the weekends, he's up in the mountains doing something. He can't, and he's really created this epic lifestyle. To him, it's lifestyle first, and then let me create a business that supports my lifestyle.
Yeah.
Where and everybody's different. And then you got freaks like me that are just so addicted to the grind. It's nothing about the closings. It's just like, dude, a day off is pain to me. Like vacation to me, I'm just like, what the hell do I do with myself, right?
Yeah.
But the dope thing is it's for everybody. You just got to pick what path you want. So I dig that. I love that, dude. Okay, so what do you do, bro, to, we live in a pretty negative space, a negative world. Real estate in general, the average realtor out there would make more money working at McDonald's full time than they would in this business. So there's so much mediocrity involved in real estate. It's just insane, right? So you've got that. Plus, it's just human beings. The average human being sees 25,000 negative things every day. Like, what do you do, dude, in your personal life to stay so focused, to stay so driven, to stay so positive?
Yeah, definitely. It starts with what you're feeding your mind. If you're watching the news all the time, well, the news is going to show negative stuff to get higher ratings. So I really don't watch the news. It's all about, listening to motivational stuff through podcasts, YouTube videos. So if I'm driving, I'm usually listening to someone like Jim Rohn, Zig Ziglar, Les Brown, the old school guys, or listening to some podcasts like yours or some other real estate related podcasts, reading books. So always just reading and listening to good positive stuff. And what I found too, one thing that I'm really working on this year is, I love books. I'll buy 10 at a time. My Amazon wish list is like 70 books long, and I just keep adding to it. And I never go to my wish list because so many people just keep recommending new ones. So I'll just buy those ones. I have so many books on my bookshelf that I've never read. And before, my goal used to be to read a book a week. And what I found by doing that is I was almost consuming business books like I would a movie as an entertainment purpose. So it's a lot better than reading a Twilight series or whatever. But still, it was just kind of in the ear, out the other ear. So this book here I got on my desk, The Compound Effect. I'm reading this with my team right now for the 3rd time. So it's become more of mastering books as opposed to just reading them. Just to say I read a book a week. So what I'm doing now is trying to master books. Going back to my top 5 and rereading those ones.
What are your top 5?
So The Compound Effect's definitely top 5. Success Principles by Jack Canfield. I love that book. Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. Got to throw that one in there.
Yeah.
Number 4. What would number 4 be? Looking at my bookshelf. Number 4, number 5. Oh, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, T. Harv Eker.
Okay.
Have you read that book? Oh man, that is awesome. Do you read books? You like books?
Yeah, dude. I'm a hardcore.
Cool.
Yeah.
So read that one. That's my number one. And they do a conference, Millionaire Mind Intensive, that's coming up here in 2 weeks.
Awesome.
My buddy Colton Lindsay, I know you were just on his show.
Yeah.
He's taken it 3 times. So that's an awesome book. That's my number one. I would highly recommend reading that book. So it's also going to conferences. Like, 2 weeks ago I was in Vegas for a conference. I hired a coach, or more or less a mentor to help me coach other people. So I was at his conference earlier in the year. I was at a coaching skills camp through Keller Williams. In October, I'm going to Tony Robbins' Unleash the Power Within. So it's getting outside of the real estate industry too, to be inspired.
Yeah, dude. So when I love it, I think the cool thing about conferences, and it's not always so much the conference that you learn from. I mean, you always pick up nuggets, and the networking's great, but it's just, dude, getting a pause from the whirlwind and just being able to reflect and just getting a different environment to clear your mind, be away from all of that. It becomes so powerful. So do you, with your self-development, dude, just out of curiosity, I mean, do you find yourself, is it all strictly business, or do you, say like let's just say like human psychology or like other things that you feel help you succeed in your business, or is it pretty much just strategic business books?
Yeah, so it's psychology books too. My mentor just recommended Force versus Power.
Yep.
David Hawkins, I think it is. So I just started that book too. So it's that, I'm a Christian, so it's being inspired, through my church and the message there. Psycho-Cybernetics, great book. That's mostly psychology. So it is a lot of psychology too. I'm really interested in the psychology of the mind, the subconscious mind. I don't understand it as thorough as I would like to yet, but it's fascinating to me, the words we use and understanding the power of the words. So I love all that stuff.
Yeah. There's a brilliant book out there, dude, called The Talent Code. So
if you haven't read
The Talent Code, dude, go check it out. Go read it. It really, it's like Think and Grow Rich tells you how to think, right?
Yeah.
So the Talent Code teaches you how to learn. It goes out there and studies the biggest, hottest talent hotbeds all over the planet, like the best prodigies, whether it's singers, composers, athletes, whatever come out of, and they really teach us how neurons in the brain works and the myelination. It's pretty powerful, dude. So, all right. Cool. So like, what do you do then for, because you're continuing to level up, say, here's where I'm going. So, man, okay, I got my real estate. Most people where you're at right now. Hey, dude, I'm working 3 or 30 hours a week, netting 200 G's a year. Like most, good's the worst enemy to great, right? So most people will be like, okay, I'm going to get stuck in the good zone. I'm just going to be comfortable with that. And you keep pushing. You're like, nope, that's not good enough, dude. I'm going to keep expanding my team while I expand my coaching organization and hitting that. So what do you do for goal setting in your life and to make sure that you're constantly leveling up and not getting stuck in those comfort zones?
Yeah, so part of it's like we already talked about, surrounding yourself with people that are doing bigger things than you are. That's huge. Constantly reflecting on where I want to go. So, probably twice a year I'll rewrite what I call my dream story or my dream future. So I want to make sure that what my dream future is in line with what my actions are currently today. I would say the biggest motivating factor for success for me and what drives me is, come from a place of true freedom, freedom to go where I want, when I want, to not be tied to any certain place or thing, and to not have any money issues ever. Growing up, money was always tight in my family, and I've seen arguments from that. And, that was always a place where I never wanted to go in my life. So that's a big driving factor for me too. But it's never about the money. It's always about being the best you can be. I had a great conversation with a mentor of mine recently, and we were talking about how I'm 28, making pretty good money, and how like you said, good is the enemy of great. And I found myself a little bit in a little lull, feeling good, making good money, but I wasn't fulfilled. And what the big epiphany was for me in that conversation was you'll never be truly fulfilled until you're living at your full potential. So I always just strive to live at my full potential, whatever that looks like, and we're all creatures of God. So I think that potential is pretty high, and I'm going to keep shooting for it and never stop.
Yep. Yeah, it's one of those things where you really never reach your full potential, right? I mean, you get to hear like, okay, I'm capable of more, but that's it's the game, man. That's what makes it so
Yeah,
exciting. So,
yeah,
um,
it's fun.
how do you just kind of on a personal note? How is it? Is it a struggle working with your wife? Right, we get a lot of people that are in the same situation, whether they're husband and wife teams. I had my wife working within my organization for a little bit of a time, and because then it's like there is no separation. It's like we can just get home and then, hey, how was your day? This. It's like now you're just living and breathing this. I mean, you know, is it something that is constant work on that? I mean, how do you balance that, dude? Because there's so many people, especially in real estate, that are those husband and wife teams. Like, how do you guys separate that and balance that? Because it sounds like you guys are vacationing a lot. You have an epic marriage. How do you kind of you're together all day doing business? How do you separate it and make sure that the marriage is still getting the work the marriage needs?
Yeah, definitely. So, by having separate roles, that's huge. So she takes over the buyers completely, and if I have a task that needs to get done, she'll do it. She looks at me as a leader in a very good way, and she follows my direction. She's very task oriented, whereas I'm kind of more big picture. So we get along good in that aspect. But really, man, we're best friends, dude. We have a good time with it. I would say if we were hustling 50, 60 hours a week in the real estate business, grinding it out, it would be super stressful. But the way we set it up for us is it's low stress. It's fun. We enjoy what we're doing. I don't try to coach her like I would my other agents. If she's not making all the dials that she should be and she knows she should, I'm not saying, hey, what are you doing? I'm just like, cool, you're my wife. You're going to do what you want to do. These are our goals, and she's working hard to get there too. But I'm not trying to hold her accountable to that kind of stuff. I don't believe in a husband-wife situation. If you're working together, you can be holding each other accountable in that aspect. I don't think it's fair for the marriage to be in that kind of coach-student relationship. So I just kind of let her do her own thing, and she's killing it. She's doing a great job this year as a buyer agent, and she's a huge help for me.
Yep, awesome,
so
bro.
We're just having fun with it.
Yep, dig it, man,
Yeah.
dig it. So what would you say, and I hate to call them failures in that they become our best learning experiences. When we get this pain delivered into our lives, like God delivers pain into our lives for a reason, to wake us up, right? So when we're going through those painful moments, it doesn't feel that way. We're like, why is this happening? Whatever it may be. But then, I've had so many hardcore painful moments in this business where I make a bad decision. Next thing I know, I'm $100,000 in credit card debt or whatever it may be, just gnarly. When you're pushing at a high level, like, one big decision can wreck you, right? But now I wouldn't go back and trade those for anything. They're the best defining moments of me as an entrepreneur and just really as me as a man, right? So what do you feel are maybe one, two, or a couple of your top failures, best learning moments that in the business that really defined you to become the person that you are today?
Yeah, good question. Man, I love that. I think when people look at other successful people in the business, they're like, man, they just have it easy. They never fail. But I think it's those who fail the most who are the most successful. So I've had tons of failures. I would say in real estate related, the biggest is probably early on trying to find that silver bullet. That one key that's going to help you make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. So early on for me, that was spending and wasting $5,000 on Realtor.com or $3,000, whatever it was, my first year before I had any clue what I was doing. I just threw it on a credit card, just hoping that it worked out. So I would say for anyone new or anyone in the business is if you're looking to invest in some kind of lead generation platform, talk to somebody first who's been around for a little while and probably spent some money on things that weren't fruitful for them. So that's probably my biggest lesson in real estate, big lesson in business in general. If someone's approaching you for an opportunity, it's probably not an opportunity that you want to take advantage of. What I found is if you wanted to create a partnership or invest in an opportunity, you should be the one seeking it out. If they're seeking you, it's probably not in your best interest. And I've lost a lot of money investing in things and people who didn't pan out to be the things or things that they said they were going to be. So do your due diligence. Don't look for that magic bullet. Success is a process, not an event. And as soon as you get over the thought process of, man, I just want to make $1 million this year, and I want it to be an event and not a process, the quicker you get over that, the more successful you're going to be. So it's just a process to success. So you just got to keep learning,
Yep.
keep
Love
moving
it.
forward.
Love it, dude. So, yeah, and you know, in the compound effect, talks so much about that. Darren Hardy's just such a brilliant
Yeah,
guy. Have you read Entrepreneur Roller Coaster yet?
I haven't.
Yeah,
I heard it's great though.
yeah,
It's good.
he's a brilliant dude, man. I've done his
Yeah,
you know, insanity program, and he's just he's a really cool cat, and talks about a
yeah,
lot, man. It's just that. You know, people think, oh man, this success has got to be something romantic and sexy, and it's just those small,
yeah,
tiny decisions made over and over and over that compound
yeah,
over time. So,
yeah.
yeah, absolutely dig it, dude. So before I get into kind of well, I've got two more questions. So one more question, and then I want to give our listener base an idea of how to get a hold of you. If somebody's like, hey, you know, Josh's GSD grinds way too, you know, we're like, you know, AJ's my style, man. You know, how will they reach you? But before I get in, do you have, because I know you're an athlete, right? So you were
Yeah.
looking to get in the NFL, the NBA. So I'm guessing hardcore high school collegiate athlete.
Well, not that far.
Okay. Okay. So anyway, you're an
Yeah.
athlete, right? Athlete background.
Yeah.
How important to you is health still today? And then do you
Yeah.
have some type of a daily routine that you follow that you feel helps you become successful?
Yeah, definitely. So fitness is huge. So my mentor teaches the four F's, and this is what I live my life by, which is faith, family, fitness, and finance. I know if I do the first three F's in that order, which is faith in God and faith in myself, family, put my wife first, and then fitness, then my finance is going to fall into place. So there's been specific times in my life where I was in that funk, kind of in that comfort zone of life and not pushing myself. And it's always because I'm either not working out or not reading or listening to positive stuff or both. And as soon as I start to do those two things again, that's when everything else falls into place. So for me, it's working out, about an hour a day, 5 days a week, and starting the morning with bulletproof coffee
Yep.
and
Man.
yep, it's awesome. And a green juice, and then trying to eat clean. But my wife and I mean, we like our ice cream, we like our pizza, and we have a good time with all that. But for sure, when my diet's on point, my fitness is on point, is when I'm operating at the highest level.
Yep. Dig it, dude. Love it, man. All right, so how do people reach out to you, AJ? If somebody's like, hey, man, I got a specific question for AJ, or maybe they do want to get some information on your coaching program. I know you mentioned that you're looking at taking on a few more clients, so somebody's interested in that. How do people reach you?
Yeah, definitely. So find me on Facebook, AJ Mida, MIDA, just like the Midas touch. Find me on Facebook, or you can email me, ajmida@kw.com. Either one's good.
Wow.
Hit me up on Facebook, message me would be cool.
Okay, awesome, bro. Awesome. So, GSD mode exists. The whole reason I started this podcast really exists to try to wake people up, right? Like life is so brief. Blink of an eye, we're 84 years old, we're on our deathbed, and that internal conversation is, hey, did we piss away this one gift called life God blessed us with and go out, or did we go out there and create something epic, live life by design and create what we wanted to create? So, the podcast is really designed to give people that inspiration, but not just a bunch of inspirational, motivational fluff. Give them a lot of inspiration, a lot of motivation, but a lot of tactical steps that they can go out there and implement right away to go out there and create that success in their life. So, it's just kind of some parting words, encouragement, inspiration. Do you have any parting words for our listeners, for our guests that are listening to this podcast right now to go out there and inspire them because life can be so dope, and you're living proof of that, right? Yeah. You're out there enjoying life. You're making money, and you're enjoying every aspect of your life and your family.
Yep.
So you're living proof of this. What would you say to people to really inspire them to go out there and create that epic life of their own?
Yeah, definitely. So the biggest thing I've been focusing on lately is having clarity. Clarity what you want. You can't hit a target that you can't see, right? So it's just getting extremely clear on what you actually want out of life, and once you do that, start working towards it. So, practical, I imagine most of your listeners are probably real estate agents. So if you're not making any money and your goal is to make 100 grand a year, well, you got to do the activity to get there. For most new agents, it's probably going to be phone prospecting or door knocking, unless they have a large referral or sphere based, and still got to call those people. So if you're a new agent, I would pick up the phone and start calling people. If you're an agent listening to this right now and you're like, well, man, I'm making 200 grand a year and I am working 60 hours a week and I don't see my kids at night or on the weekends and this kind of sucks. I'm 30 pounds, 40 pounds, 50 pounds overweight. I want my life back. I would say, draw a line in the sand right now and decide to do it today. And what that looks like for you is time blocking, putting in your calendar the things that are most important to you, which are probably your family and your fitness. So time block time with your family, because they should be number one always, aside from faith. So time block that in. Once you time block time with your family, go ahead and put your fitness in, then schedule your business around it. So, talking about the guy you just interviewed, if you want to work 4 days a week, go ahead and block off Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and make those the days you're off, no matter what. So you just got to get clear first, get clear, and then work towards whatever goal you set for yourself.
Yep. Love it, dude. Love it, man. So, and to our listener base out there, just how I end every single podcast, information without implementation is the start of delusion. Right. So, I mean, AJ's, dropped some awesome, amazing content here, but it does you no good. If you're going to be that entrepreneur that goes to the conference, reads the book, but does nothing with it, it's not going to serve you in any aspect of your life. So get some nuggets, take something that you heard today, start implementing, take action on it. Action trumps all, and keep kicking ass. Thank you guys for listening. Go dominate. AJ, man, greatly appreciate you being here, my friend.
Yeah.
I know you're a busy guy out there slaying it. And, we greatly, myself and the listeners, man, we appreciate you taking time out of your day to be here and sharing your knowledge with us, bro.
Thanks a lot.